Well. Good evening, YouTube. This is your Daily Stoic with your host, Jeffrey. Space is crazy, McCabe. I was just on Google and I come across a science post about this massive black hole that's in a cloud that eventually will collide with the Milky Way, probably millions and billions of years from now. But they figured they found this black hole that they didn't know was inside of this cloud. I'm like, man, like, now they know that there's black holes just by themselves floating around. Every galaxy has a black hole in the middle of it, and we don't really know what happens. We just don't know where all that stuff goes. Like, what? It's like, yeah, we got everything figured out, but the space is crazy. Like, when I think of shit like that, I'm like, wait a second. Don't tell me we know what's going on if we can't figure out where the black holes go. And there's so many of them. Like, our galaxy has a large black hole in the middle of it, right? So they think, oh, it's just dark matter, but then there's extra dark spots. The ones that move and don't have nothing around them, that freaks me right out. Like, that's like, whoa, wait, what? But, every galaxy has a black hole in the middle that's just sucking everything in and the whole thing just spins. Come on, man. We don't got a clue what's going on in this universe. Or we're living in a simulation. I'm not sure. But anyways, I just thought I'd share that. I was just reading it. I'm like, man, how crazy is that? And they said that this gas cloud orbits the Milky Way. They think. And that they didn't know there was a black hole in it. Now they figure there's a black hole inside of a gas cloud. I don't know. I tried to read it all. I was like, what? But they think it orbits the Milky Way, but it gets closer and eventually it's going to crash into the Milky Way. I'm like, what? Anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I love space. I love thinking about it. It's one of my favorite things to talk with somebody. I work with a guy, shout out to my boy Sean. I work with this kid. He was a huge space nerd. We worked in Toronto, so we drive out to Toronto. It was always long car rides. But man, those car rides with him, he was a huge space nerd, and we could just talk for hours about space. He was one of those guys that you just kind of click with. You can just, use your imagination. Some people are like, no, this is the way it is. This guy had a great knowledge on a lot of space stuff, and he was also very able to just sort of have the craziest wild ideas. I love those conversations. Anyways, reading the Daily Stoic 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hasselman. If you're in Southern Ontario, my goodness, did it snow. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you shoveled out. I don't know if we've seen this much snow in quite a few years. Not repeatedly like this. I just had to go out. I'm burying my car. I got to work in the morning. So I was like, better make sure I can get out. I'm doing street parking here at the building. And I'm like, I better make sure I can get the hell out of there. So I did. Anyways, so stay safe. It's supposed to get really cold now for a couple days too. So I guess it's the Daily Stoic weather report. Anyways, today is February 16th. Don't make things harder than they need to be. If someone asks you how to write your name, would you bark out each letter? And if they get angry, would you then return the anger? Wouldn't you rather gently spell out each letter for them? So then, remember in life that your duties are the sum of individual acts. Pay attention to each of these as you do your duty. Just methodically complete your task. J-E-F. Sorry. I was like, man, you imagine just yelling the letters of your name? That cracked me up. Would you rather gently pay attention to each of these as you do your duty? Just methodically complete your task. I like that. Marcus Aurelius, Meditation 6.26. Here's a common scenario. You're working with a frustrating coworker or a difficult boss. They ask you to do something, and because you dislike the messenger, you immediately object. There's this problem or that one, or the request is obnoxious and rude. So you tell them, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't know how many bosses you don't do that usually. That's not usually how I react to anybody. Anyways, I'm not going to do it. Then they retaliate by not doing something that you had previously asked them. And so the conflict escalates. Usually I just get mad and slam shit around and do the task a little bit angrily. And so the conflict escalates. Meanwhile, if you could step back and see it objectively, you probably see that not everything they're asking for is unreasonable. In fact, some of it is pretty easy to do, or is at least agreeable. And if you did it, it might make the rest of the task a bit more tolerable too. Pretty soon you've done the entire thing. Excuse me. Life and our job is difficult enough. Let's not make it harder by getting emotional about insignificant matters or digging in for battles we don't actually care about. Let's not let emotion get in the way of kakatonyo-kon. I don't know. Katikon, the simple, appropriate action on the path of virtue. That's good. I mean, I think if you're going to use the work analogy, like work can be frustrating, but I think the point is to do every task to the best of your ability and without letting anger or getting frustrated, really drag you down. It takes extra energy. It makes everything more difficult, right? I could go into a whole thing. Like sometimes you got dickhead bosses. Sometimes you got to be like, no, man, that's dumb. We're not doing it that way. But like I said, I usually, I'll listen to most of my bosses. You got to, right? It's kind of the way of the world. But I think I'm taking the analogy too specifically. It's more about, okay, you don't want to do it, but that's your job. That's what you have to do. And in the grand scheme of Stoicism, you have to, your job, your purpose in life is to be a good person of virtue, to get shit done no matter what. As a human being, you have to go out every day and apply yourself and do it gracefully and to the best of your abilities and with some type of pleasure, right? Like, and that's good advice, man. Like you go out angry every day, whatever it is you're doing, it's gonna be worse if you're mad all day. And when it comes to working, like I've always worked labor and stuff, and I really like to transition out of that and do something where I help people, whether that be public speaking, motivational speaking, music, acting, something. I know acting doesn't. I'd like to do something different that's not manual labor, but I really would like to help people, and I've really gotten into motivational speaking and like performance type speaking things. It's always been a passion of mine. I'd like to turn it into a career. And I'm gonna keep building myself. I think I've gained a lot of knowledge in the last year even, but my whole life I've always been a pretty deep thinker, always been a creative person. If you don't know, I've rapped since I was like fucking 20. We never made it anywhere because we never pushed it that way. But I love music. I love art. I love the art of speaking. I love language, and that is my career goals. And as I went through the year, there was a lot of setbacks as I was trying to do different things. I wanted to get into some type of social work, but realizing I don't have the education for it, it wasn't going to be enough money for me to do it full time. I thought I could, and I would chase that for a few months over the summer, and then I was like, ooh. So I ended up going back to my manual type labor type, my hard-working job, which I'm grateful to have. But if I can build something on the side of that will eventually be my main driver, that would be 100% what I want to do. I said all of that to say that if you hate your job so much that you're mad every day, you should really, really try to make a switch. I don't hate my job. I actually like working. I like doing cool stuff. I've worked at a very cool place, but I don't like how unhealthy it is. I don't like being a slave to it, and I would like to do something different. But I don't hate it. But if you hate your job, man, you got to try to do something different. If you're stuck in it, you got to do it. You have to. I get it. A lot of people, hey, man, life's expensive right now. If you got a decent job or a job at all, you just got to go get after it. But don't be afraid to chase your dreams. That was what I was trying to say. So do your duty. Be a good person. I hope you guys are having a great night. I'm going to finish watching the NBA All-Star game. Get ready for bed. Love you guys. Peace.